Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's lesson we will create a complete mechanical part. You will learn how to use Boolean tools, shell, pocket, pad and circular pattern. More importantly, I will show you the correct order of using these tools to create the model. So stay with me and let's start today's exercise.
I was dreaming in my sleep, now wide awake, with CATIA by my side, there's no mistake. Always had a wish to create and design. Now I'm building futures one line at a time. Could sketch a ship or design a plane. With CATIA, every dream I can sustain. Stay with me, I'll show you how it's done. Our journey to the stars has just begun. Dreams with CATIA come alive, stay tuned. In a world of possibilities, our talents bloomed. From the sketch pad to reality, watch us soar. With every click and curve we crave for more. From the smallest bolt to towering steel, with CATIA our thoughts become real. Together we'll create wonders to see. In this world of design, just you.
Hello everyone. Today I want to draw this shape for you. In this exercise we will work with the techniques for using Boolean tools and the circular pattern tool. I will also explain the order of using the tools to you. Having a skill in the order of using the tools is important. Well, as usual, let's look at the shape. The main section of this part is a circular gear. I place the XY plane at the bottom of the cylinder of this gear. I consider the center of the gear as the origin of the coordinate system. I place the vertical axis along the center line of the cylinder. I will also show you the horizontal axis with the mouse. The first parts I draw are the gear cylinder and the cylinder above it. In the second step, I draw the rectangular block. In the next step, I draw the part that is connected to the rectangular block. I will place the rectangular block in another body. I will show you the reason when I use the shell tool. I enter the sketcher workbench using the XY plane. I draw two circles with their centers at the origin with diameter of 50 and 38 millimeters. I click on the smaller circle to make it orange. Then I click on the Output Feature tool. The line of the circle becomes thicker and is highlighted. I return to the Part Design workbench. I click on the Pad tool. First, I activate the larger circle. I set the length to 33.5 minus 8.5. The first cylinder is created. Then I click on the smaller circle. I click on the Pad tool. I set the length to 33.5 millimeters. The second cylinder is also created. I enter the sketcher workbench using the top surface of the smaller cylinder. First, I draw a central rectangle. According to the drawing, the width of the rectangle is 37.5 millimeters. I apply this dimension to the width of the rectangle. Now look at the shape. In the 3D shape, the rectangle is tangent to the cylinder with a diameter of 38 millimeters. But the width of the rectangle is 37.5 millimeters, so it cannot be tangent to the cylinder from both sides. Now I add dimensions to position the rectangle. The distance from the outer edge of the rectangle to the vertical axis is 74 millimeters. We should not apply this dimension first. I will do this. You can see what happened. To prevent this from happening, first I set the distance from the center of the rectangle to the vertical axis to 74 divided by 2. Then I set the distance from the outer edge of the rectangle to the vertical axis to 74. Now the bigger sides of the rectangle are at the same distance from the edge of the cylinder with a diameter of 38 millimeters. First, I delete the horizontal constraint between the rectangle and the horizontal axis. I apply a tangency constraint between the lower edge of the rectangle and the cylinder. So now you can see that the center of the rectangle and the horizontal axis have a distance of 0.5 millimeters between them. I apply a 9 millimeter fillet to the two corners of the rectangle. Did you notice the way I selected the location of the fillets? I return to the Part Design workbench. I pad it by 12.5 millimeters using the pad tool. Also pay attention to another point. Now the rectangular block is under the part body. I want to show you something. I activate the shell tool. I set the thickness to 4 millimeters. For the remove face, I select the top surface of the rectangular block. I click OK. You can see that the inside of the cylinder also became hollow. I delete the created shell. I create a body. I click on the path of the rectangle in the specification tree and move it to body 2. I activate the shell command again. I use the same settings. You can see that only the inside of the rectangular block became hollow. Now I draw the next part in the same body. I enter the sketcher workbench using the top surface of the rectangle. I look at the drawing. I get its dimensions from the drawing. And first I draw the right edge vertically. These dimensions are used to position the line. Now I draw an almost horizontal inclined line from its top edge. The angle of the line with the horizontal axis is 5 degrees. Now I draw the left edge. I draw an inclined line. Pay attention that this line does not pass through the origin. The angle of this line with the vertical axis is 35 degrees. These two lines intersect at one point. I trim them. The length of the almost horizontal inclined line is given as 25 millimeters. Now I draw a vertical line that passes through the origin. I also draw a horizontal line below the horizontal axis. The distance between this horizontal line and the x-axis is 0.5 millimeters. From the intersection point of this line with the vertical line, I draw an inclined line. The angle of this line with the horizontal axis is 20 degrees. I create an offset of this line with a distance of 2 millimeters. Later you will see that this distance will change. Up to this point we have followed the drawing. I delete the extra parts. I fully constrain the shape. I return to the Part Design workbench. I make the shape 3D. I use the shell tool to hollow the inside. Now look carefully at the shape. There is a problem. I mean this part. I will show it with the mouse. Now look at the same part in the drawing. You can see that there is no edge there. So I have made a mistake here. I delete the shell from the specification tree. I enter the sketcher workbench of the created shape. I need to modify this part. I will show it with the mouse. I create a point here. I apply a fixed constraint to the point. I move this edge upward until it becomes coincident with the created point. Now the 20-degree angle is maintained and the line is in the correct position. I constrain the created point. I return to the Part Design workbench. I run the shell command. Now look at the shape and the edge. The problem is solved. I look at the shape from the top. Using the Assemble command from the Boolean setup tools, I assemble body 2 with the part body. At this stage, I create the holes on the cylinder. First, a smaller hole. The diameter of its sketch circle is 28 mm. I remove the sketch from the cylinder to the end using the pocket command. The second circle has a diameter of 31 mm. I also create it with the pocket command to a depth of 5 mm. Now look at the right side of the rectangular block. There are two protrusions on it. I want to create them. Pay attention to the shape. The upper protrusion is not tangent to the edge of the block, but the lower protrusion is tangent to the edge of the rectangle. So I draw it first. I enter the sketcher workbench using the top surface of the block. I draw a circle with a diameter of 18 mm. I make the circle concentric with the fillet of the block corner. I draw another circle with a diameter of 18 mm. I move it approximately. I draw a line from the center of the first circle to the center of the second circle. I apply a vertical constraint to the line. The distance between the centers of the two circles is 22 mm. I apply it. The position of the second circle is now correct. I make the vertical line a construction line. I project the vertical edge of the block and its upper fillet. I will show you the reason for projecting the fillet. I draw a rectangle. The upper and lower horizontal edges of this rectangle are tangent to the two circles. I move the vertical edges of the rectangle horizontally to suitable position. The distance between the right vertical edge and the projected edge is 4 mm. Now I delete the extra parts. I compare the obtained shape with the drawing. I return to the Part Design workbench. I pad it by 12.5 mm using the pad tool. Now I create the two internal holes with a diameter of 9 mm. The depth of the holes is 8.5 mm. I want to create the teeth on the cylinder with a diameter of 50 mm. First, I enter the sketcher workbench using the YZ plane. I draw a vertical line and an arc. I consider the starting point of the arc at the end of the vertical line. Look at the drawing and section AA. The height of the vertical line is 6 mm. The radius of the arc is 15 mm. The lower point of the vertical line is coincident with the x-axis. The distance from the vertical line to the y-axis is 20 mm. Now the positioning is complete. I close the shape. I return to the Part Design workbench. I activate the pocket command. I set the pocket on both sides to 2 mm. I rotate the shape. The groove of the first tooth is created. I activate the circular pattern tool. In the parameters section, I set the pattern mode to complete crown. The number of teeth is 18. I click in the box in front of the reference element. I click on the inner surface of the cylinder. I click in the box in front of object. In the specification tree, I click on pocket. I click OK. The teeth are created. Now I create the fillets. The fillet value is 4 mm. First I select all the edges. Then I activate the command. Now I have also selected one surface by mistake. I continue selecting. I do not need to execute the command again. I execute the fillet command. In the Object to Fillet section, I click on the Multi-Section tool. In the opened window, I find Face and click on it. I click Remove. Now two edges remain. In the same state and without closing multi-section, I click on the two remaining edges. You can see that they have been added to the list. I set the fillet value. I click OK. The shape is complete. I look at it from the top. Very well, today's lesson ends here. I hope you have enjoyed it. See you in the next exercise. Goodbye.
Let's build the future. Come with me. Don't